Energy Smart was struggling with a broken, outdated system that crashed constantly and was negatively impacting the business. They needed an application to manage their customer lifecycle, all the way from a lead coming into HubSpot, to the customer services team booking in an assessment, to an assessor going to the property and making an assessment, to an installation being booked and carried out by their installers. Their current system was a Frankenstein of mismatched systems and spreadsheets that crashed whenever too many assessors were using the system at the same time. This was negatively affecting the business's bottom line as they were losing out on tens of thousands of dollars each month through holes in their process and a rising technical debt as their system became more and more outdated. The site we have built for them not only empowers their whole team to get their job done with ease, but comes with a huge range of benefits, such as visibility and accountability. The web app uses the best new parts of the CMS, namely memberships and serverless functions, and is built on top of the CRM, utilizing standard and custom objects.
To demonstrate this application, we'll start at the lead generation stage. Energy Smart's leads come into HubSpot through a mixture of HubSpot forms and the Conversations inbox. However, the leads from Warmer Kiwi Homes, which is a government program to help fund insulation installations in New Zealand, all come from the same email address into the Conversations inbox with information about the lead buried in the email body. Our application starts by parsing these emails to read the body of that email, and then creating a new contact record or updating the contact record if that record already exists. All of these contacts, whether created from HubSpot forms or from email parsing, are then assigned to one of the customer services team via a round-robin workflow. We then move on to the customer services team members. At Energy Smart, the customer services team are responsible for qualifying the leads that have come into the HubSpot CRM. To kick off their process, the team member logs into the portal and is presented with the bookings form. The team member will be using this bookings form when calling up a lead to qualify them and to learn more about their property. On the left side of the form are all of the leads that have been assigned to them from the aforementioned round-robin process. When the lead's name is clicked, the form draws the records information out of the CRM and pre-fills it on the form. The lead stage can also be changed by clicking on the dots next to the name. The team member can then go about filling in the rest of the form while on the phone with the lead. The form is dynamic and changes based on the input that they get from the customer. This cuts down on user error and makes sure that only relevant information is captured. Energy Smart needs to have the exact location of the property, so we've added an autocomplete to the form and mapping function as well, utilizing the Google Maps API. Once the customer services team member is finished with the form, they can submit it. What this does on the back end is it creates an address and associates the contact with this address, as well as assign that address to the bookings agent. The customer services team member can then carry on with the rest of their leads, and the next step of the process is handled by the bookings agent. At Energy Smart, the bookings agent is responsible for booking in new assessments with the property owners. When they log into the portal, they're presented with the addresses that have been assigned to them on the left side. When one is selected, it brings up all the information about the property that the customer services team has entered in the previous steps. We've got your owner-occupier details and the property details on the right side. So the next step for the bookings agent is to actually call the property owner and set up a new assessment by clicking on the New Assessment button. Inside of this dialog, they're able to select which assessment type they would like, the assessor that will be doing the assessment, and this list of assessors is dynamically drawn from the CRM, the booking date, the booking time, and the duration of that assessment. And then they can create it. That assessment then shows up in the assessments list with the start and the assessor and what stage that assessment is at. This app is connected with all of the assessor's calendars and books in an assessment on their calendar, as well as sending notification emails to both them and the client. Now that the booking process has been completed by the customer services team and the booking agent, and the assessor has been booked in, the next step in the process is for the assessor to actually go to the property and do the assessment. When the assessor logs into the portal, they're going to see a screen that is very similar to the booking agent, in that all of the properties that have been assigned to them are going to be on the left side of the screen. When they click on one of those properties, it will bring up, just in the same as the booking agent, the details about that property and the assessment that has actually been booked on that property. When clicking on this assessment, it takes them through to the actual assessments page. Since we're on the assessment page, this is a great time to point out that this web app is completely mobile friendly, as demonstrated here. Because this is important because the assessor will be doing this assessment on the property with the client using an iPad. But just for demonstration purposes, I'll keep it on the larger view. The assessment itself draws information out of the CRM, so there's no need for the assessor to fill in any information that has already been collected. Information like the owner's details and the property details. As the assessor moves through the web app, filling in fields, switching switches, and so forth, there's a little dialog that comes up at the bottom here, prompting the assessor to save. This saves all that information back against the deal, so they can save as they go, as this is quite a big form. Other little input features of this form are the signatures that can be collected, like this, buttons that can be pressed, and even uploading photos. And again, all of these images and signatures are saved back against the deal itself. If there are any hazards on the property, the assessor is able to fill in that information, and this actually creates a new custom object called a hazard and associates that with the deal on the back end. So say like there's a big dog. Once the assessor has reached the pricing section, they're able to add products to the quote. All of these products that you see here are drawn dynamically out of the CRM. So if the client needs to add new products or remove old products, they're able to do so without having to touch this. Once all the products have been selected and added, they're tabled down here in the quoting section, with all of the owner's contribution, third-party funding, ECA contribution, and calculations that go along with their quoting. Then the assessor is able to save and view the quote by clicking on this button here. And what that does is it saves all the quoting information against the deal, and then generates a PDF, which is the actual quote of the information. So they're able to view that with the customer. Once the entire assessment has been filled out, they're able to complete and close it. And what this will do is it will close off the assessment and send an email of the assessment information and the quote to the client as well.
The site is impressive because it supports every function of Energy Smart's business, not just making life easier for staff in the customer service office or out in the field, but empowering the business to make better data-driven decisions thanks to insights they have never had visibility over before.